13 seconds. That's all it took for the Seattle Seahawks to announce their arrival. What followed was a complete demolition of the San Francisco 49ers, 41-6, in one of the most dominant playoff performances the NFL has ever seen. From the very first second, the Seahawks showed they meant business. 13 seconds into the game, before most fans had even settled into their seats, Rashid Shaheed took the opening kickoff 95 yards to the house. The crowd at Lumen Field erupted as Shaheed weaved through the 49ers coverage team, and just like that, Seattle led 7-0. It was the longest postseason kickoff return in Seahawks franchise history, and only the fourth time since 2000 that a playoff game has opened with a kickoff return touchdown. The tone was set, and the 49ers never recovered. What followed was 3.5 quarters of total domination. The Seahawks offense, led by quarterback Sam Darnold in his first playoff victory, methodically picked apart a depleted 49ers defense. Darnold, who had been listed as questionable all week with an oblique injury, showed no signs of being limited. He completed 12 of 17 passes for 124 yards and a touchdown before being pulled in the fourth quarter with the game well in hand. This was the performance Seattle needed from their veteran quarterback, and he delivered when it mattered most. But the real star of the night was running back Kenneth Walker III. Walker was an absolute force, rushing for 116 yards and 3 touchdowns. His 3 rushing scores tied him with legendary Seahawk Shaun Alexander for the most rushing touchdowns in a playoff game in franchise history. Walker punished the 49ers defense all night long, running with power and purpose. Every time Seattle needed a big play on the ground, Walker was there to deliver. His performance was a masterclass in playoff football, and he showed why he is one of the most dangerous running backs in the entire league. The receiving corps also stepped up in a big way. Jackson Smith-Njigba, who had been waiting for his breakout moment against San Francisco, finally got his first touchdown against the 49ers. Cooper Kupp, who joined the Seahawks this season, led all receivers with 5 catches for 60 yards. The offense moved the ball at will, and the 49ers had absolutely no answers. By the end of the first quarter, Seattle led 17-0. By halftime, it was 24-6. The third quarter saw the Seahawks extend their lead to 34-6, and the final score of 41-6 represented the largest playoff victory in Seattle Seahawks history, matching their Super Bowl 48 demolition of the Denver Broncos. For a franchise with such a rich playoff history, that is saying something. Now let's talk about the defense, because this game was won on both sides of the ball. The Seahawks defense, nicknamed the Dark Side, lived up to its fearsome reputation. They forced 3 turnovers, including an interception and a fumble recovery. Linebacker Ernest Jones had an incredible night, recording both an interception and a forced fumble. Rookie safety Nick Emenwari recovered a fumble after a strip sack by defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence. The defense swarmed to the ball all night and made life miserable for 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. Purdy, who had been so effective during the regular season, completed just 15 of 27 passes for 140 yards. He threw 1 interception and lost a fumble. The Seahawks' pass rush was relentless, constantly forcing Purdy off his spot and not giving him time to find his receivers. The Dark Side defense also held Christian McCaffrey, one of the league's most dynamic players, completely in check. McCaffrey had no explosive runs, no big plays, nothing. Seattle's defensive game plan was executed to perfection. For the second consecutive game against the 49ers, the Seahawks defense did not allow a single touchdown. Think about that for a moment. In their last 2 meetings, including the Week 18 regular season finale, San Francisco has not scored a touchdown against Seattle. The 49ers managed just 2 field goals all night, and both came when the game was already well out of reach. This defense is playing at an elite level right now, and they are peaking at exactly the right time. The injuries plaguing San Francisco certainly played a role in this lopsided outcome. The 49ers were without 3 All-Pro players. Tight end George Kittle, linebacker Fred Warner, and defensive end Nick Bosa were all sidelined with injuries. Losing 3 players of that caliber would hurt any team, but against a Seahawks squad playing with this much confidence and intensity, it proved to be insurmountable. San Francisco simply did not have the firepower to keep up. This was the second most lopsided playoff loss in 49ers franchise history. The only worst defeat came back in the 1986 season when they lost 49-3 to the New York Giants in the divisional round. For head coach Kyle Shanahan, this was the heaviest defeat of his coaching career. It was a night to forget for everyone associated with the 49ers organization. The Seahawks, on the other hand, are riding high. After missing the playoffs for 2 straight years and not winning a postseason game since 2019, Seattle is now just 1 victory away from Super Bowl 60. They will host the NFC Championship game next Sunday at Lumen Field, where they will face either the Chicago Bears or the Los Angeles Rams. With the way this team is playing, with home field advantage, and with the 12th man behind them, the Seahawks have to be considered the favorites to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold, in his first season with Seattle, has found redemption. After years of being labeled a bust and bouncing around the league, he is now 1 win away from the Super Bowl. When asked about the victory, Darnold was full of praise for his teammates. He talked about how proud he was to be part of this organization and gave credit to the defense for making his job easier. His humility and team-first attitude have endeared him to the Seattle faithful, and they will be cheering him on next weekend. The atmosphere at Lumen Field was electric all night long. The fans sensed something special was happening from that opening kickoff return, and they never stopped making noise. The 12th man was in full force, creating a deafening environment that clearly rattled the 49ers. Home field advantage is real, and Seattle is making the most of it. Looking ahead to next week, the Seahawks know they cannot afford to overlook whoever their opponent will be. Whether it is the Bears or the Rams, both teams will come to Seattle with nothing to lose and everything to gain. But if Seattle plays the way they played tonight, if the defense continues to dominate and the offense keeps rolling, it is hard to imagine anyone beating this team at home. The road to the Super Bowl goes through Seattle. The Seahawks have earned that right with their 15-3 record and their dominant playoff performance. They have the quarterback, they have the running game, they have the receivers, and most importantly, they have a defense that is playing at a championship level. All the pieces are in place. For the 49ers, this is a bitter end to what had been a promising season. Despite dealing with injuries all year long, they managed to win 13 games and earn a playoff spot. But when it mattered most, when the lights were brightest, they could not match the intensity and execution of their division rivals. San Francisco will head into the offseason with plenty of questions to answer and decisions to make. As for Seattle, the celebration can wait. There is still 1 more game to win, 1 more opponent to beat, 1 more step to take on the road to Santa Clara and Super Bowl 60. But tonight, Seahawks fans can bask in the glory of this dominant performance. Tonight, they can dream about what might be possible. Tonight, they can believe that this just might be their year. The Seattle Seahawks are heading to the NFC Championship game, and the entire football world is taking notice.